The silent defender. The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the viewscreen of the EDS Prometheus, Earth's most sophisticated warship. Captain Sarah Chen stood with perfect posture, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching Galactic Council fleet. Their ships gleamed like polished jewels against the backdrop of stars, a deliberate display of their supposed technological superiority. Preliminary scan complete, Captain. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez reported from her station, her voice steady despite the tension permeating the bridge. Detecting 37 Council vessels, matching known configurations from our intelligence database. Their weapons are powered but not charged. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Council fleet was impressive, certainly, but they had no idea what they were truly facing. The Prometheus looked unremarkable from the outside, a necessity born of decades of careful planning. While other nations had raced to show off their technological achievements, humanity had chosen a different path. Status of the quantum fold drive? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Commander David Park, her chief engineer, responded through the secure channel. Operating at optimal efficiency, Captain. All systems are masked behind our conventional signature. They won't see anything unless we want them to. The quantum fold drive was humanity's greatest secret, the culmination of a scientific breakthrough that had changed everything. While the Council races had focused on conventional propulsion and energy weapons, Earth's scientists had discovered something far more fundamental, a way to manipulate the very fabric of space-time itself. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Right on schedule. The Council never could resist the urge to gloat before attempting to subjugate a lesser species. Accept the transmission, Sarah ordered, straightening her already impeccable uniform. The screen flickered to life, revealing High Commissioner Nexer of the Galactic Council. The Arthanian's crystalline features might have been beautiful if not for the contempt evident in their arrangement. Captain Chen of Earth. Nexer's translated voice carried the artificial perfection common to Council communications. The Galactic Council has completed its evaluation of your species. We are here to discuss the terms of Earth's integration into the greater galactic community. Sarah maintained a carefully neutral expression. We appreciate the Council's attention, High Commissioner. Earth looks forward to peaceful cooperation. Cooperation. Nexer's crystalline features shifted in what passed for amusement among their kind. Let us be clear, Captain. Your species has developed faster than light travel far too quickly. Your military advancement rate exceeds acceptable parameters. The Council has determined that humanity requires guidance. Behind Sarah, the bridge crew continued their work with practiced efficiency. To any observer, they appeared to be operating a relatively primitive starship, complete with visible power fluctuations and occasional system glitches. It was all carefully orchestrated. I'm not sure I understand, Sarah replied, allowing a hint of concern to enter her voice. Earth has complied with all Council regulations regarding technological development. You have complied with what you knew of our regulations, Nexer corrected. Our evaluation has determined that humanity possesses dangerous potential. Your species adapts too quickly, innovates too readily. For the stability of the galaxy, you will submit to Council oversight. A governing board will be established to monitor and control your technological development. Sarah shared a knowing look with her first officer, Commander James Wilson. They had expected this. The Council had done the same to dozens of emerging spacefaring races, establishing protective oversight that inevitably led to centuries of exploitation. How many ships will this oversight require? Sarah asked, playing her role perfectly. The Council fleet will maintain a permanent presence in your system, Nexer stated. Resistance would be inadvisable. Our preliminary analysis of your vessel suggests you are operating with Mark III propulsion systems and basic particle shielding. The technological gap between us is significant. Sarah allowed her shoulders to slump slightly, as if resigned. I'll need to consult with Earth Command before responding to such a significant proposal. You have one standard rotation, Nexer declared. After that, we will begin implementation with or without your cooperation." The transmission ended abruptly. The bridge was silent for a moment before Sarah turned to her crew, her facade of submission vanishing. Status of the quantum network. "Online and undetected, Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "All Earth defense platforms are synchronized. The fold space calculations are complete. Defense grid hidden beneath the quantum variance, as planned," Commander Wilson confirmed. "They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." Sarah moved to the center of the bridge, her steps measured and confident. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, knowing the Council would eventually come to assert their dominance. While other species had built bigger ships and more powerful weapons, Earth had discovered something far more valuable: the ability to hide their true capabilities in plain sight. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship, it was humanity's answer to centuries of potential subjugation. Its quantum fold drive didn't just allow for faster-than-light travel, it could bend reality itself, creating spaces where cause and effect became suggestions rather than laws. "Begin countdown sequence," Sarah ordered. "Inform Earth Command that Operation Looking Glass is proceeding as planned. And make sure our guests continue to see exactly what they expect: a primitive species coming to terms with their inevitable submission." As her crew acknowledged the orders, Sarah watched the Council fleet through the view screen. They were so convinced of their superiority, so certain they had humanity figured out. They had no idea they were about to learn why humanity had survived countless extinction-level events, why Earth's children had clawed their way up from the mud to reach the stars. The Council thought they were here to subjugate humanity. In reality, they were about to become part of humanity's greatest revelation. The next 24 hours would change the galaxy forever, and Sarah Chen would be at the center of it all. The Council's ultimatum. 6 hours into the Council's deadline, High Commissioner Nexer decided to demonstrate their superiority. 3 automated Earth defense platforms, carefully positioned to appear as humanity's best technology, drifted in high orbit around Luna. They were relics by Council standards. Exactly as intended. "The Council grows impatient with Earth's delay." Nexer's voice filled the Prometheus's bridge. "Perhaps a demonstration will help expedite your decision." Sarah watched as 5 Council destroyers broke formation, their sleek hulls catching the sunlight as they moved into attack position. The Council's weapons were impressive, each destroyer carrying enough firepower to level a small continent. They were about to put on a show, and Sarah had to let them. "High Commissioner," she protested, allowing fear to color her voice. "Those platforms are purely defensive. There's no need for—" The destroyers fired in perfect synchronization. Beams of coherent energy sliced through space, transforming the defense platforms into expanding clouds of superheated debris. The demonstration took less than 3 seconds. "A fraction of our capability," Nexer stated. "Your species' attempts at military technology are quaint. We've encountered pre-industrial civilizations with more sophisticated defensive concepts." Sarah gripped her command chair, playing her role. Earth understood we were technologically behind the Council races, but this level of disparity. Now you begin to understand. Nexer's crystalline features shifted into what passed for a smile among their kind. "The Council's oversight is not merely political. It is a necessity for your survival. There are powers in this galaxy far less diplomatic than we are." Commander Wilson approached Sarah's chair, keeping his voice low. "Captain, Earth Command is requesting an update. They're concerned about the loss of the platforms." Sarah gave him a subtle nod. Earth Command was playing their part perfectly. The Council's surveillance would detect the encrypted transmission, but its contents were carefully crafted to reinforce their assumptions. "Tell them we're analyzing the situation." She replied loudly enough for the Council's sensors to pick up. Then, through the quantum-linked neural interface that the Council couldn't detect, she sent the real message. "Operation Looking Glass proceeding as planned. Council forces operating within expected parameters." The neural interface was another secret humanity had kept. While other species focused on external technology, Earth had turned inward, developing ways to merge human consciousness with quantum systems. Every crew member aboard the Prometheus was connected through a network that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Your defense platforms were impressive. For a young species, Nexer continued, unaware of the silent communication. But surely you see now the futility of resistance. The Council's terms are generous. We offer protection, guidance, and controlled access to advanced technology. Seraph stood, moving to the center of the bridge. And in return, merely oversight, the Council will establish bases on Earth and your colonial worlds. Your military will be reduced to a defensive force under our command. Your scientific research will be supervised to ensure safe development. Your economy will be integrated into the Council's trading network at an appropriate level. Slavery with extra steps, Lieutenant Rodriguez muttered, quiet enough that only the bridge crew could hear. We request time to present these terms to our planetary government. Sarah replied diplomatically. Nexer's features hardened. You have already delayed for 6 hours. The Council's patience is not infinite. To demonstrate our resolve, 3 more Council ships moved out of formation, their weapons charging. On the tactical display, Sarah could see them targeting a small research station near Mars. It was evacuated, of course. Humanity had planned for every contingency. High Commissioner, that station contains valuable scientific data. Sarah protested. Its destruction would set our research back years. Precisely. The Council ships fired, and the station erupted in a spectacular explosion. Consider it motivation to make the wise choice. As debris scattered across Mars' orbit, Sarah allowed real anger to enter her voice. Was that necessary? Education often requires object lessons. Nexer's tone was dismissive. You have 6 more hours to accept our terms. After that, we will begin implementing them regardless of your response. Consider carefully what that implementation might entail. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Sarah waited 30 seconds, ensuring the Council's surveillance would detect nothing unusual, then activated the quantum network. Status of the research station's quantum core. She subvocalized through the neural interface. Safely duplicated and transferred before the destruction. Commander Wilson replied silently. The Council destroyed an empty shell. All valuable data and technology were quantum shifted to our secure facilities hours ago. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Council thought they were watching a primitive species struggle with the reality of their technological inferiority. They had no idea that every move they made was being analyzed by quantum computers that existed partially outside normal spacetime, their tactical patterns mapped and countered before they even executed them. How many ships have they committed to aggressive maneuvers? Sarah asked aloud, maintaining the facade. 8 vessels total, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. Their energy signatures suggest they're operating at minimal capacity. They don't see us as a threat worth powering up for. Through the quantum network, the true data flowed. The Council ships' energy patterns revealed weaknesses in their shield harmonics, gaps in their sensor coverage, and the limitations of their weapon systems. Every demonstration of power was giving humanity more information about how to counter it. Update from Earth Command, Commander Wilson announced. They're requesting we prepare for surrender protocols. The message hidden beneath those words was clear. Earth's quantum defense grid was fully operational. The seemingly primitive satellites and stations that dotted the solar system were ready to reveal their true nature. Humanity's apparent submission was the final piece of a strategy decades in the making. Sarah returned to her command chair, watching the Council fleet through the view screen. Soon, they would learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their hidden technology or their quantum innovations. It was their ability to appear weak when they were strong, to seem primitive when they were advanced, to make their enemies believe victory was assured until the moment it became impossible. The next 6 hours would change everything. The Council thought they were teaching humanity a lesson about power. Instead, they were about to learn why humans had survived every catastrophe their world had thrown at them, why Earth's children had evolved to become the galaxy's greatest survivors. The countdown continued, and beneath the false readings and carefully maintained facade, the Prometheus prepared to show the Council exactly what humanity was capable of. Turning the tables. With just 1 hour remaining in the Council's ultimatum, High Commissioner Nexer made their final attempt at intimidation. The Council fleet shifted into an attack formation, their ships creating a net of overlapping fields designed to prevent any escape. "Your time expires soon, Captain Chen," Nexer announced, their crystalline features arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as smugness. "I trust Earth's leadership has reached the only logical conclusion." Sarah stood at the center of the Prometheus's bridge, her posture relaxed despite the dozens of weapons locked onto her ship. "Actually, High Commissioner, we have reached a conclusion, though perhaps not the one you expected." She gestured to Lieutenant Rodriguez, who initiated a sequence they had prepared long ago. Across the solar system, hundreds of seemingly dormant satellites and debris fields suddenly came alive with quantum energy. "What is this?" Nexer demanded as their sensors registered the change. "Some final, futile gesture?" "No, High Commissioner," Sarah replied, allowing herself a small smile. "This is a revelation. You see, humanity learned something important during our early days of space exploration. We learned that the greatest power lies not in showing strength, but in being underestimated. The quantum fold drive of the Prometheus activated, but not in any way the Council had ever seen. Instead of moving through space, the ship seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, creating a quantum overlay that defied conventional physics. "Impossible," Nexer breathed, their crystalline structure flickering with confusion. "Your technology." "Our scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Sarah finished. While the Council races focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, humanity took a different path. We learned to manipulate reality itself. As if to demonstrate her point, the Prometheus shifted again, its quantum state allowing it to occupy strategic positions throughout the Council fleet's formation. The Council ship's sensors tried desperately to track it, but the vessel seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. "All defense platforms online," Commander Wilson reported calmly. "Quantum grid is stable and synchronized." The seemingly primitive defense platforms that dotted the solar system revealed their true nature. Each one generated a quantum field that interacted with the others, creating a complex web of altered space-time. The Council fleet found their advanced weapons hitting targets that existed in multiple states simultaneously, their energy dissipating harmlessly across quantum possibilities. "This is your final opportunity, High Commissioner," Sarah announced. "The Council can withdraw its forces and engage in genuine diplomatic relations, or we can demonstrate exactly why humanity survived every extinction-level event our world threw at us." Nexer's response was predictably aggressive. "Open fire. Full saturation pattern." The Council fleet unleashed its full arsenal, filling space with enough energy to destroy a small moon. But their weapons found no purchase in the quantum-shifted reality around them. The Prometheus and its support platforms existed in a state that made conventional attacks meaningless. "Their weapon systems are exactly as our quantum analysis predicted," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, initiating countermeasures. The Prometheus's response was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of firing traditional weapons, it released quantum-entangled particles that phased through the Council ship's shields as if they didn't exist. The particles synchronized with the ship's power systems, causing cascading failures that shut down weapons and engines without causing any casualties. What are you doing to our ships?" Nexer demanded, their voice losing its artificial perfection as system after system failed. "Teaching a lesson about assumptions," Sarah replied. "Your shields and weapons are impressive, but they operate on principles we mapped and countered years ago. While you watched us build conventional technology, we were perfecting something far more fundamental." The quantum grid tightened around the Council fleet, trapping them in a web of altered space-time. Ships that tried to escape found themselves looping back to their starting positions, their advanced drives unable to cope with the twisted physics surrounding them. "This is impossible," Nexar insisted. "No species at your level of development could achieve this. Our scientists would have detected." "Your scientists detected what they expected to detect," Sarah corrected. "Humanity learned long ago that the best way to advance was to do so in secret, to let potential adversaries believe we were primitive until the moment we needed to prove otherwise." Through the quantum neural network, Sarah could feel her crew's satisfaction as years of preparation finally bore fruit. The Council fleet, for all its apparent power, was effectively neutralized without a single life being lost. "You should know, High Commissioner, that similar quantum grids are now active around every Council world," Sarah continued. "We've had years to prepare, to seed our technology throughout Council space, while you dismissed us as primitive. Every ship, every base, every military installation you possess is currently surrounded by quantum fields waiting to be activated." The bridge fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. The Council hadn't just failed to subjugate Earth, they had failed to notice that humanity had already outmaneuvered them on every level. "You're bluffing," Nexar said, but there was uncertainty in their voice. Sarah nodded to Commander Wilson, who activated a holographic display showing quantum field signatures around key Council worlds. "We don't bluff, High Commissioner. Humanity spent generations surviving one catastrophe after another. We learned to plan ahead, to prepare for every contingency, to turn apparent weakness into strength." The Council fleet hung motionless in space, their mighty ships rendered impotent by technology they hadn't even known could exist. Around them, Earth's quantum grid pulsed with power that defied conventional physics, a demonstration of just how thoroughly they had underestimated humanity's potential. "Now," Sarah said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human determination, "shall we discuss the terms of a real alliance? One based on mutual respect rather than attempted subjugation. The true face of humanity." High Commissioner Nexar's crystalline features shifted through patterns that suggested deep distress. The Council fleet remained immobilized in the quantum grid, their mighty engines and advanced weapons rendered useless by physics they couldn't comprehend. "You've hidden this level of technology from us," Nexar said slowly. "For how long?" Sarah exchanged glances with her crew before responding. "The quantum fold drive was perfected 20 years ago. The neural interface network, 15. The quantum grid. We began seeding that throughout Council space the moment your first survey ships entered our system." Through the neural network, Commander Wilson sent Sarah a subtle signal. More Council ships were arriving at the edge of the system, drawn by the fleet's distress calls. Exactly as planned. "Additional Council forces detected," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced aloud, maintaining the pretense of verbal communication for their audience. 3 heavy cruiser groups approaching from multiple vectors. Sarah didn't even bother looking at the tactical display. "Activate the outer grid." The arriving Council ships suddenly found themselves caught in the same quantum trap as their companions, their advanced drives and weapons negated by fields of twisted space-time. What they had thought would be a rescue mission became another demonstration of humanity's hidden power. "Impossible," Nexar whispered. "The resources required to create such a network, the technological advancement needed, would be beyond any species at our apparent level of development," Sarah finished. "That was rather the point, High Commissioner. While the Council watched us build crude ships and basic weapons, we were focusing on something far more fundamental, understanding and manipulating the quantum nature of reality itself." Through the view screen, they could see the Council ships attempting various escape maneuvers, each one failing as the quantum grid adjusted in real time. It was like watching master chess players suddenly realize they'd been playing against a grandmaster who had been deliberately losing until now. "But your colonies," Nexar protested. "Your outposts. They're all so primitive." Sarah allowed herself a small laugh. "Are they? Or do they simply appear that way to conventional sensors? Your scientists never thought to look beyond standard physical measurements. You never considered that what appears to be a simple mining outpost might exist partially outside normal spacetime. As if to demonstrate her point, Sarah nodded to Commander Wilson. Around the solar system, human colonies and outposts began revealing their true nature. Quantum fields flickered into visibility, showing that each settlement was protected by the same technology that had neutralized the Council fleet. While your people were judging us by the size of our ships and the power of our weapons, Sarah continued, humanity was learning to step sideways through reality. Every primitive colony you dismissed, a quantum technology research center, those simple defense platforms, each one capable of altering local space-time. Even the Prometheus itself is far more than it appears. To emphasize her point, the Prometheus shifted again, its quantum state allowing it to exist at multiple points simultaneously. To the Council's sensors, it would appear as if the ship was everywhere and nowhere at once, a demonstration of technology so advanced it bordered on the mystical. The Council's fundamental mistake, Sarah explained, her voice carrying no trace of mockery despite their complete victory, was assuming that technological advancement would follow the same path you took. You built bigger ships, more powerful weapons, stronger shields. Humanity. We looked at the universe itself and asked, what if we could change the rules? Through the quantum neural network, Sarah could feel her crew's pride and satisfaction. Years of maintaining their facade, of appearing weak when they were strong, had finally paid off. The Council's mighty fleet hung helpless in space, defeated not by superior firepower, but by their own assumptions about how technology should progress. Your own history should have warned you. Sarah continued, how many times did human nations fall because they underestimated seemingly primitive opponents? How many empires crumbled because they couldn't conceive of warfare beyond their own understanding of it? Nexer's crystalline form had taken on a dull sheen, a sign of deep distress in their species. The Council, there were no signs. There were countless signs. Sarah corrected gently. You just interpreted them according to your own biases. Our ships seemed primitive because you expected primitive ships. Our colonies appeared basic because you expected basic colonies. You saw exactly what you wanted to see, what confirmed your belief in your own superiority. Around them, the quantum grid pulsed with power that defied conventional physics. Each pulse was a reminder of how thoroughly the Council had misunderstood humanity's potential. Their mighty fleet, capable of reducing planets to ash, had been rendered impotent by technology they hadn't even known could exist. So what happens now? Nexer asked, their voice heavy with the weight of revelation. Will humanity take its revenge for our attempted subjugation? Sarah's response was immediate and firm. No, High Commissioner. That's another way in which you've misunderstood us. Humanity didn't develop this technology for conquest or revenge. We developed it to ensure our survival, yes, but also to protect the possibility of genuine cooperation. A new order. The silence that followed Sarah's words was profound. The Council fleet hung motionless in the quantum grid, their mighty engines quieted, their weapons powerless. Through the neural network, Sarah could sense her crew's anticipation. This moment would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy for centuries to come. I don't understand, Nexer finally said, their crystalline features arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as confusion. You have us at your mercy. Your technology clearly surpasses ours. Why not simply take control? Sarah moved closer to the view screen, her expression softening. Because that would make us no better than those who sought to subjugate us. Humanity's strength isn't just in our technology, High Commissioner. It's in our ability to learn from history. With a subtle gesture, she commanded the quantum grid to shift. The Council ships remained contained, but the field became more comfortable, less restrictive. It was a small gesture, but its meaning was clear. Humanity could choose mercy over dominance. Throughout Earth's history, Sarah continued, we've seen what happens when advanced civilizations encounter less developed ones. The pattern of conquest, subjugation, and exploitation has repeated itself countless times. We vowed that when we reached the stars, we would break that cycle. Through the quantum neural network, Commander Wilson sent her the latest updates. The news of what had happened here was already spreading through Council space. Other races were watching, waiting to see how this confrontation would end. Your quantum technology, Nexer said slowly, it could revolutionize everything. Transportation, defense, communication, the applications are endless. Exactly, Sarah agreed. And we're willing to share it. Not as conquerors imposing our will, not as superior beings granting favors, but as equals offering cooperation. The quantum grid isn't just a weapon, High Commissioner. It's a foundation for something far greater. To demonstrate her point, Sarah nodded to Lieutenant Rodriguez. The quantum field around the Council ships shifted again, this time creating a visual representation of its possibilities. The Council crew watched in amazement as the grid showed how their ships could be linked in ways they had never imagined, creating a network that transcended conventional space and time. Imagine, Sarah said, her voice filled with genuine enthusiasm, a galaxy where distance is no longer an obstacle, where energy can be shared instantly across light years, where communication happens faster than thought, where conflicts can be prevented before they begin, because we all understand we're part of something greater than ourselves. Nexer's crystalline form shifted, catching the light in new ways. You could have revealed this at any time. Why wait until we forced your hand? Because true cooperation can't be built on fear or intimidation, Sarah explained. We needed the Council to understand, truly understand, that the old ways of thinking, about technology, about power, about species relations, are obsolete. Sometimes that understanding only comes through demonstration. Through the neural network, Sarah received confirmation that Earth's quantum network was already adapting, integrating the Council ships into its protective embrace rather than holding them captive. It was a subtle shift, but a crucial one. What are you proposing? Nexer asked, their voice carrying a new note of respect. A genuine partnership, Sarah replied. Earth will share our quantum technology, help integrate it into Council systems. In return, we ask for true equality among the galactic community. No more superior races, no more technological hierarchies, just different species working together, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. The quantum grid pulsed once more, but this time it was different. Instead of containing the Council ships, it began harmonizing with them, showing how their technology could be enhanced rather than negated. It was a preview of what cooperation could achieve. Your weapons could have destroyed us, Nexer observed. Your quantum fields could have torn our ships apart. Instead, you show us possibilities. Sarah smiled. That's the final lesson humanity learned from our own history, High Commissioner. True power isn't about destruction. It's about having the ability to destroy and choosing instead to create. It's about reaching the point where you can dominate others and realizing that cooperation is infinitely more valuable. Around them, the quantum grid began to sing with new frequencies as Council ships cautiously interfaced with it. The Prometheus's sensors detected the first tentative attempts by Council scientists to understand and interact with the quantum fields. It was exactly what humanity had hoped for. Curiosity overcoming fear, innovation replacing intimidation. There will be those in the Council who resist this change, Nexar warned, who see any alteration of the established order as a threat. Of course, Sarah acknowledged, change is never easy. But look around you, High Commissioner. Look at what we've achieved in just these few hours. Your most powerful fleet, neutralized without a single loss of life. Your most advanced technology, enhanced rather than destroyed. This isn't the end of the Council's influence. It's an invitation to evolve beyond what you thought was possible. As if to emphasize her words, the quantum grid expanded, offering new possibilities, new connections, new ways of understanding the universe itself. It was humanity's greatest achievement, not the technology itself, but the wisdom to use it for unity rather than division. The stars are endless, Sarah concluded, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's hopes. And our potential to grow, to learn, to evolve together is just as limitless. The question isn't whether humanity deserves a place among the stars. The question is, are we all ready to discover what we can become together? In the silence that followed, the quantum grid pulsed with promise, a testament to humanity's true power, not the ability to conquer, but the wisdom to cooperate. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been working toward all along.